So, today we are tackling something truly monumental. We're diving into a book that's over 1,100 years old, one that actually set out to tell the entire history of the world right from the moment of creation. It's this epic story of prophets, kings, cosmic events, and we're going to try to break it all down for you.
I mean, just to get a sense of the sheer ambition here, all you have to do is read the author's own words. See, this was never meant to be just a list of dates. No, it was a promise to weave together the sacred and the historical into one single massive story that covers all of time.
So, how do we even begin to unpack a story this big? Well, we've got a roadmap. First, we'll look at the man behind this incredible chronicle. Then, we'll explore how it answers some really big cosmic questions. After that, we'll dive into the first human dramas, check out some cautionary tales about powerful kings, and finally we'll try to understand why this whole thing was meant to be a moral guide.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. Who was the person with the vision and, let's be real, the sheer discipline to pull off a project this massive?
So, this is our guy Al-Tabari. He was a famous scholar living back in 9th and 10th century Baghdad, and he compiled this absolutely enormous work, wrapping it up in the year 915 AD. Now, it became one of the most important historical texts in the Islamic world, and what made it so special wasn't just how huge it was, but how he did it, gathering all these different accounts of the same events.
So, to help us get through this, we're going to borrow a really cool idea from the Chronicle itself. The text talks about how a group of Jewish scholars came up with a series of 28 really tough questions to test the Prophet Muhammad. And these questions cover everything, from the nature of God to the end of the world, and Tabari's Chronicle basically sets out to answer them. All right, using that as our guide, let's see how the Chronicle takes on some of the biggest questions you can possibly imagine, starting with the very fabric of our reality: the sun, the moon, day and night.
Now this is where things get really interesting. Forget astrophysics for a moment. In this telling, day and night weren't just there. It was a deliberate act. The idea is that the sun and moon were both created with the same amount of light. Then, the angel Gabriel comes down and rubs the moon with his wing, which dims its light, creating night. It was done so that we humans could actually measure the passing of days and months and years.
And this just perfectly captures the worldview of the Chronicle. You see, in this world, the universe isn't some cold mechanical thing. It's alive. It's spiritual. The sun doesn't just set. No, it travels to God's throne to worship all night long before it's told to rise again in the morning. The entire universe has a purpose. Okay, so after painting this huge cosmic picture, the Chronicle zooms way in, right down to the very first human stories, and boy, are they dramatic, and often pretty tragic. The book lays out this incredible, unbroken family tree, It traces the line all the way from Adam, through his son Seth, who was called the gift of God, by the way, because he was born after Abel died. And it follows the family line down through all these patriarchs, leading directly to Noah and the Great Flood. And when we get to the first murder, the story is told with this really chilling simplicity. It all boils down to the basics, right? An offering, God's rejection, pure jealousy, and then this blunt, terrifying threat. The very first act of violence between humans comes from this feeling of spiritual failure. But what happens next is just this incredible little detail. After the murder, Cain has no idea what to do with his brother's body. So, in this moment of what you could call divine intervention, humanity's first lesson on how to bury the dead doesn't come from some grand revelation. No, it comes from watching nature. Cain learns how to dig a grave by watching one crow bury another. And this theme of, human weakness and pride isn't just about family drama. The Chronicle is packed with these powerful cautionary tales about kings and rulers who thought they were powerful enough to challenge God himself. And, well, it never ends well. And this next story might just be the ultimate example of pride. You've got this King Shabbat who hears about the glories of God's paradise and basically says, "Peh, I can do that." So he decides he's going to build his very own heaven right here on Earth using thousands of workers to create this dazzling city of gold and jewels to rival the real thing. And then you get the punchline. And it is devastating. After all those years of work, just as the king and his entire entourage are riding up to the gates ready to enjoy their creation, bam, a hurricane comes out of nowhere and strikes them all dead. They never even get to set foot inside. It's a pretty stark lesson, right? So after all of that,
The creation stories, the first murder, the arrogant kings. You have to ask, what's the point? Why did Tabari write all this down? Well, he actually tells us himself. This isn't just history for history's sake.
See, for Tabari, this is the whole reason for the book. History isn't just a collection of facts. It's the ultimate teacher. It's all there to prove that there's a moral order to the universe. It shows that your actions really do have consequences, that good is rewarded and evil is punished, and that pride will always, always lead to ruin.
So in the end, the Chronicle of Tabari is so much more than just some old book. It's this powerful reminder that we've always used these giant epic stories to figure out our place in the world. It shows us that history has always been about answering our biggest questions. Where do we come from? How are we supposed to live? And what does it all mean? Thanks for watching.